fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today with this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress. This is one of my current works in progress and the one that I'm going to be working on today. You are welcome to go get whatever it is that you are working on and work along while I chat. Or alternatively, you can treat this like a podcast and just listen while I chat and I work on my project. Uh, Either way, welcome. I think I have everything ready to go. I have my canvas, I have my drills off to the side here, I have my pens, my tray, my trash, I've got my timer, I've got my notes, I've got a drink. Hopefully that's everything I need. So I am going to rearrange some stuff. I'm going to be working on this section right here. So I'm going to move things around a little bit so I can zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. And I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to be working on this section here. This canvas is a little challenging for me right now because I ran out of this D. They didn't send me enough drills, and I'm currently waiting on additional drills to be sent to me. I did contact them and let them know they are sending me the drills, no problem. It just will take them a little bit to get here. So until they get here, I can't really do that section. I have some drills that are the right color in here, but I have some really huge sections. You know, this one over here, I might be able to get away with doing a different color because it's not really attached to anything, but I've got sections on the lower ends of the canvas where I've already partially done a section, so they need to match. So I'm just going to do what I can and yeah, go from there. So, oops, let me start my timer here so I know how long I've been blathering along. So, okay. So, WIP and Chat number 61, you guys. I swear, every time I do one of these, I think, wow, because I just, every week, I'm like, who am I really going to find stuff to talk about for that long? But yep, I do. So, and I have gotten into the habit lately of writing up my notes. I put them on my iPad, and then I just have them sitting here next to me so that I can kind of look at them as I go through. And it's actually been really helpful. When I first started doing this, I didn't do that because I just figured, you know, it's a WIP and Chat. It can be random. It's okay. And, you know, whatever it came out of my mouth, it was what it was. Um, but I'm trying to be a little more intentional about things and also to keep track of, because I'm old, you guys, if I've already told you something, that I not tell you the same thing over and over again, because I know how annoying that can be. And I mean, there are some things I'm going to talk about repeatedly, obviously, because there are just things going on in my life, but I don't want to just keep talking about, I don't want to tell you the same story over and over and over, you know, like that old uncle you had that every time he came over, he told you the same story. Anyway, I didn't really have an uncle like that, but you know what I mean, I hope. Anyway. So, anyway, I usually start off with a life update. So let's start with the life update. We got our air conditioner fixed, so yay! The guy came and spent about 4.5 very sweaty hours because it was horribly hot that day. Fixing it. He set off our smoke alarms because he had to cut out the old coil and then solder the new coil into place. And we just have a very small, we call it our furnace room because that's where the furnace and air conditioner are. It's underneath our stairs, basically. And we have like our chest freezer is in there. My son has a little mini fridge because his room is in the basement. That way he could keep some cold drinks down there without having to come all the way upstairs. And our water heater, our furnace, the sump pump, that kind of stuff is all in this little room. And there's not a whole lot of room because there's a big pipe running right through the middle of it. So it's a little awkward to get in there and move around. So, and he was kind of a big guy. So getting in that, sandwiching himself in that small room where he had to kind of get down on the floor on the concrete by the sump pump and work, I'm sure was no fun. But it's fixed. So we haven't got the bill yet. I'm still waiting on that because I don't know why they didn't just give it to us then, but when he came out and serviced it before, he didn't give us a bill right away either. And I said to my husband, well, they just gonna, you know, bill us all at once because he knew he needed to come back. And he's like, well, I guess so. Well, no, they didn't. They sent us a separate bill. So that initial visit already cost us $400 for him to come out and tell us that we needed a new coil and to recharge the coolant because it wasn't working as it should. So, I mean, it's not like he did nothing. And, it worked noticeably better after the service call, even though he said the coil needed replaced. It worked noticeably better after that. So, I'm not saying that he didn't do anything, just $400 seemed like a lot. And when they called my husband and said, we need to do coil, he asked for a quote and they said, well, around $1,600. And I said, okay, but is that $1,600 plus labor? Because he was here 4.5 hours. And, we already paid a $400 bill and he was only here for like an hour. So, he says they told him that was with labor. So we'll see. I'm not holding my breath that that's actually true because my husband doesn't always pay attention to that kind of stuff. So, yeah, waiting to see what the actual bill is going to be when we get it to see how much it's actually going to cost. But on the upside, it is now fixed. It is working great. So there's that. My husband's car is now fixed. We managed to get it into the shop and get it worked on. And the mechanic said it was a good thing that we brought it in before we took the trip because not only did it need the timing chain worked on, but I guess the year and model of my husband's car, it's a car that is known to have issues with the timing chain on there's a particular way that they made it. And they stopped doing it the year that my husband's car is and started doing it differently. But my husband's car is apparently one of those that was manufactured early in the year when they were still using whatever the old method was. And so, yeah, we could have been sitting on the side of the road if we hadn't have gotten it fixed. So he had them change the oil. He told the guy, we're going to be taking this road trip. Do you think it's going to be fine? And the mechanic was like, yep, we've checked everything out. It's all good. Should have no problems. If you do, we've got, I think he said like a 2-year warranty on the stuff that they did. So when we're ready to hit the road, we should be good to go. Although I just realized, you know how you don't think things all the way through? Maybe that's just me, but I don't consider every possibility. We've just been making trips for this vacation. And so I've been focused on, okay, here's what we're doing and blah, blah, blah. And my son is not going with us, which I knew, but all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm leaving him home alone. I need to make some just to fulfill my mom duties and be like, hey, don't have a bunch of parties while we're gone. I can't say don't drive my car because if he needs to go anywhere, he can drive my car because his car has no air conditioning. And when it's 110 degrees outside, literally, I'm not going to tell him he has to drive a car with no air conditioning, but no parties, take care of the house, don't trash anything. Not that I think he would do any of that, but you just got to keep my mom card. I got to say all that stuff so that he knows I was at least thinking about it and he can't say I didn't. My son is very much one of those that is the letter of the law and not the spirit. Well, if I say, what, you shouldn't have done that. Well, you didn't tell me I couldn't. You know what I mean? So I have to cover all my bases with him. So, I mean, he'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. Just gotta, like I said, do my mom duty and be like, hey, don't do XYZ. So, so the car is good and all ready to go. Um, which is a good a weight off my mind. One, that his car won't mess up, and two, that we don't have to. We were afraid it wasn't going to get done in by the time we wanted to go, and or that they were going to find something wrong, and then we would end up taking my car. And I'm pretty sure I didn't want to drive my car, so there's that. So that's all good. So then we're gearing up for school. My son had his little consultation, advisement session, counseling session, whatever you call it, with his academic advisor at school. He is now transferred over into his online program and he's registered for classes. I had to laugh because he was registered for, I think he had 4 classes and one that he wanted to take, but it was full. And so the advisor said, just wait, put yourself on the waiting list. You'll get an email, and then you have, I think he said 20, no, not 24, 48 hours from the time you get the email to go in and accept the seat. So basically, if somebody drops the class, then whoever's on the waiting list gets an email that says, hey, do you want this seat? And they have 48 hours to say yes or no. And I said, okay, well, hopefully, that will happen by the time school starts. And he's like, yeah, but, and I said, what? And he's like, well, I have to check my email every day. I'm like, wow. Yeah, that's such a hardship to check your school email every day. He just doesn't like doing it because, it's his summer vacation. He doesn't want to have to think about school and have to worry about checking his email and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, suck it up." So he got the email. He got into the class that he wanted. So he's now signed up for a full class load, and um, we paid his tuition. So yay. Um, we haven't bought books yet. We went on to go check, and I think 2 of the 5 classes do not have any books listed as of yet, which just means the instructors haven't gone in and added them. So, because I'm sure he's going to need books for one of them's like an accounting class, I think, and the other one is some kind of business introduction class. But I'm sure it's going to require a book, I think, from what I remember. So we'll see. Because some of his, they're basically online access through the university. So I just have to pay a fee to the um, university bookstore. And then he gets online access to this class while he's enrolled in it, or online access to this book. And so I'm planning on doing that, but I don't want to do all that until all of the classes have books listed. I mean, I could go in and buy them one at a time. I just don't like doing that. Like, I'd rather just buy all of them at once and then know that I'm done with his books for the semester. So still waiting on that, but at least the big chunk of change for his tuition has been paid. So, and then because we did pay his tuition, the other thing that we are doing is sending a letter to the court about his jury duty, because he got that letter saying that it was going to be extended through October. And I'm like, well, that's all well and good. I completely understand, them wanting to keep people in the jury pool that didn't get called. But he waited around all of this summer. He didn't go anywhere. He didn't take any trips. He's not going on vacation with us so that he could be available May, June, and July, which is what they told him he would be serving. And then we get this letter that says, no, we're extending it because you didn't get called. And of course, he's very, that's not fair. Why do they get to do this? And I'm like, it's the government. Who's going to tell them they can't? But he is going to be back in school. He is going to be doing homework and assignments and tests and things that he cannot miss. that would adversely affect his grade, and we've already paid tuition, so we'll be sending a letter that says, please excuse him. If they want to put him on the list for next summer, then, whatever. I personally feel like he's been on call for 3 months. That should be good enough. It's not his fault that they didn't have a case that he got called for. Um, so we'll see what happens. They did excuse him last time, so which is why he was on call this summer, because they called him last August, and we went, he's in school, so I'm hopeful that he can go back to classes without having to worry about that. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm working all the way up here. Oh, you can see it. Okay. Just because this is all exposed, I figure I might as well, even though this part is covered up with release papers. I've got so many sections in this because of this color that I'm missing that I'm just trying to work around everything as I go. So, anyway, so that's on my list of things to do. Everyone's health is doing okay. I didn't have any cavities when I went to the dentist, so was very thankful for that. Nobody has any more appointments, doctor appointments. I think my husband is the only one that has any appointments until before the end of the year. He's got like a doctor visit sometime in October, November, I think. And that's it. At least that we know of currently. No routine scheduled visits. So barring anything untoward happening, knock on wood, we're all good for the rest of the year, which is good because my wallet could use a break from all of the doctor bills. Because I'm still waiting to find out how much I'm going to end up paying for all of my son's cavities and his dental surgery. So he's still healing up. His stitches finally came out, so he was super stoked about that. However, he's got like a little lump, and he said it's not painful, but it just feels weird. It feels like he's got food trapped behind his teeth, and so it just feels weird. But I told him, I said, if it really bothers you, call the doctor's office and tell them what's going on and see if they think that's normal or if they want you to come in and get looked at. So must not be bothering him very much because he hasn't done that yet. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, so yeah, my wallet between the air conditioner and my husband's car, which was about $2,000. The air conditioner will be about $2,000 all told, assuming that my husband is correct and that $1,600 quote included labor. And all the dental bills, yeah, so my wallet could use a break. So, of course, what are we doing? We're planning a vacation, which my husband said he told his boss, hey, we're going to be going on vacation and blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, you're just gone all the time. And he's like, excuse me. No, I'm not. Now, he has missed half days because he was doing PT and that kind of thing. But we haven't taken a vacation since March of 2020. And so his boss was like, huh, you're right. So we're planning that. We were looking at the hotels in Maine and where we wanted to stay. And there were several options. And one of them I was like, yeah, I just don't know if I want to pay that much money. I mean, this is not a large town. It's not like we're going to Bangor or Augusta or any of the really, big cities in Maine. And it's a little pricey. And I'm not quite sure why. It's actually more expensive during the week than it is during the weekend, which doesn't make very much sense to me. I would think that most of their business, well, I wouldn't think they would have very much tourist business, but what do I know? Maybe they do. I didn't look that up when I was looking up all the things about that city, so who knows? But anyway, we decided we were trying to figure out where we wanted to stay and what we wanted to do, and did we want to pay all this? And I said, you know what? We've been saving up money, knowing that we wanted to go up and visit um, his folks. And so I've been trying to put money away into like a little savings fund for us so that we could go at some point, that mythical day when all the COVID stuff was finally lifted and we could just go visit his folks. Um, but so we were talking about that, and I said, do we want to splurge and stay at this kind of more pricey hotel, or do you just want to stay at this other kind of smaller, less expensive chain hotel? And we decided, you know what? We haven't been on vacation in 2 years. We don't travel a lot. We don't go on a lot of vacations. My husband and I are really pretty much homebodies. Other than my diamond painting habit, I don't really, go anywhere or do anything. So, we just we don't have, well, I was going to say we don't have expensive hobbies, but I guess my diamond painting is kind of an expensive hobby. But beyond that, we're pretty simple for the most part. We don't even really eat out a lot, don't go to the movies, that kind of stuff. So I just figured, you know what? It's going to be the two of us. We haven't been on vacation in a couple of years, like I said, and it's okay if we splurge. So we did. And we're paying, even though we consciously went, should we do this? Yeah, we're going to splurge. I still have a couple of moments every once in a while where I'm like, ugh, do we really need to stay in this more expensive hotel? And then I'm like, just gonna go with it. In fact, I think I mentioned before, I'm trying to be a little more seat of my pants than I normally am comfortable with this trip. So I was telling my sister when we went out to lunch that I didn't, we, not just I, but my husband and I, we did not make reservations at hotels on the way. We made a reservation for the hotel in Maine where we're going to be, because we're going to be there for like a week. I didn't want to leave that up to chance or end up, if you don't reserve ahead of time, they want you to like, you got to move rooms halfway through your stay or something. So, we did reserve that one, but we don't know exactly how far we're going to drive. I mean, we're aiming for 10 hours a day. I'm hoping at least the first day we drive a little bit further than that. So we went through and kind of looked at maps. Where do we think we're going to stop? Here's a couple of good places. And then we uh, printed out some hotel names and numbers so that we could contact them from the road in case we wanted to stay there. So yeah, I'm flying by the seat of my pants, which my sister was like, "Who, you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to be a little bit more spontaneous and let go of the need to have it all planned out and all that kind of stuff, which is hard. Not gonna lie, but we'll see how it goes. And I think it will be easier for me just because on this trip my kids are not going to be with us, and that is it'll be less stressful for me because I won't be worried about them. Although sometimes I find it easier to keep it together because I'm trying not to panic them when I get anxious, but I don't know, we'll see. My husband's there and he's very calm and level-headed when it comes to stuff like that, so it's all good. I do need to start thinking about what I'm going to pack because my husband, we went to the grocery store and he's like, well, I want to buy snacks and blah, blah, blah. And I want to pack all this stuff up. And I'm like, we're not leaving yet. We don't need to pack all this stuff. And he's like, well, and I'm like, okay, you can start packing stuff if you want, but until it gets closer to time, I'm not going to worry about it. And let's be honest, I'm just going to repack everything that you do because my husband, love him, but, he's used to getting calls in the middle of the night. Hey, we've got a storm job. Let's go. Roll out of bed. 2 hours later, he's got to be wherever he's got to be for them to get on the road and go wherever they're going. And So he's used to just kind of, you shove it in the backpack and or the suitcase and you go. And I'm only planning on taking one suitcase. There's only just the two of us. So I don't think, we each need our suitcase and all that. That's just more stuff for us to have to schlep up and down the stairs or in and out of the hotel. So I was like, no, we don't need to do that. I'll just pack everything. And I mean, he makes fun of me because I'm very organized about how I pack and all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, you can laugh and make fun, but whenever you ask me for something, I know where it is and I make sure that we don't forget anything. So, and definitely got to make some lists for myself so that I can make sure I don't forget anything. Because if I'm going to be trying to do any filming or anything like that while we're on the road, um, I need to make sure that I've got my essentials so that I don't forget anything. I already know that I need to transfer some files from my computer onto his laptop because that's what we're taking. So I can do most of the things that I need for my laptop, but I've got a couple of files that I'm going to need that are on my desktop. So I have some definite things that I need to get done. And of course, got to clean the house, do all the laundry. Because again, I like to have everything kind of clean and done and ready to go so that when we get back, my house is clean when we return, and all I have to do basically is really laundry. And we're planning to come back a day before my husband has to go back to work because when we were initially talking about it, he's like, well, we'll get back on this day and I'll just go back to work the next day. And I'm like, okay, we're going to have spent 10 plus hours in the car probably. And then, and getting home fairly late. And I said, and then you're going to, get up at the crack of dawn and go to work. I don't think that's a good idea. As someone who works with high voltage electricity all day. So, um, he thought about that for a minute and said, yeah, you're probably right. I'll take this extra day off just to make sure that, he has plenty of time to rest and all of that. Not that they don't work when they're tired, especially like when they're storm working and that kind of stuff, but it's not ideal. So if he doesn't have to do that, then I don't want him to. So then it's also a process of I kind of figure out, before we leave, are there any bills due that I need to pay that are gonna, would fall due while we're gone? Is there any stuff I need to take care of for either one of my kids that, you know, I need to do before I'm gone? Like I wanted to get his tuition paid. We'll be back before school starts, but I just wanted to get it done so that it was off of my shoulders. And also, that money is not sitting in our bank account so that my husband thinks we have it to spend. So, I mean, I love my husband's attitude towards money because it's not a huge concern for him. He never really gets upset or frustrated about, what there is or isn't. He doesn't really argue with me if I say we don't have the money for that. Um, he just, it's just not an issue, which is refreshing because, yeah, it's just nice. So, and I realize we're lucky in that respect, but it's nice to not have to argue with someone about money all the time because that gets old really fast. Anyway, so trying to get all of that done, figuring out, what do we need to pack and, what chores do I need to get done before we go, all that fun stuff. So that will take up some time, I'm sure. And oh, and then you guys, kids. I love my kids. Do anything for my kids, but sometimes they make me so nuts. So my oldest has moved out, living in an apartment, and decided, oh, what was it? A couple weeks ago, a month ago, yeah, she's going to go with us to Maine. So my husband and I are like, okay, so that changes our searches a little bit, trying to figure out where we want to be. Do we want to buy? Do we want to rent? What size do we want? What features are we looking for if we buy a house? What things do we want if we get an apartment? All that kind of stuff. And, with the expectation that at some point, hopefully, we'll get notified that we're in the line for our permanent residency in Canada. And she can stay in the house and live there while we're in Canada. And first of all, I gave her some money to go get her hair done. She likes to get her hair dyed purple. So I gave her some money so that she could go get her haircut done. Had some money come in unexpectedly, so I gave her some of it, said, go get your hair done. And it's her hair. I've never been overly concerned about it. She had like unicorn hair that was like purple and pink and blue when she was working her last job. So um, her last two jobs actually that she's had this hairstyle, hair color. And so I just, I'm old, you guys. I'm like, who's going to hire you with unicorn hair? But apparently lots of people, including schools. So whatever. So I knew she was doing that. But she comes over to our house because we needed to put I had to pay tags on our cars. And so we need to put the little sticker on her car. So I said, come over so we can get that done. Well, of course, she comes over while my husband and I are out shopping. And I didn't know she was coming over. So she walks in on my son bebopping around in the kitchen. He's wearing his headphones. She still has a key, so she let herself in, scared the heck out of him because he was wearing his headphones and didn't hear her come in the house. And so she calls me, where are you guys at? Well, I didn't expect you to be here this early in the morning. So we're out shopping. We'll be home in a little bit. So we get home and I see her hair. And, again, it's that generational thing. She often does not comb her hair, which drives me crazy. She has such great hair. It's when she was little, it looked like little orphan Annie with all her curls. So, of course, she hates them because she has curls, so she doesn't want them. Isn't that the rule? If you have curls, you hate them. If you don't have curls, you want them. So I always loved them, thought they were adorable. She hates them. So I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden I realize, because her hair had been quite long, I'm like, where's the rest of your hair? I thought she had it up in a ponytail. And she turns and she's gotten this odd hairstyle where basically the back of it is cut like a boy's cut, that short, all the way to the nape of her neck. And then she's got these pieces hanging down on the sides that are like chin length. And she loves it. She thinks it looks so good and she loves it and it's so much easier. And I'm like, well, I'm sure it's easier to take care of. You cut off 90% of your hair. But, I'm just looking at it going, if you're going to cut the back of it off, why not cut the whole thing? But again, it's her hair. She doesn't get to say what I do with my hair. Just whatever. But you guys, oh. So anyway, I'm talking to her about her hair and how's her job search going and all that kind of stuff. And we're talking about that. And I said, okay, well, we're planning to go up to Maine and do some looking around for houses and stuff and just kind of filling her in on, when we'd be gone so that if she needed something, what do we need? What do I need to take care of before we go? And she says, Mom, I don't think I'm going to go. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, now she's changed her mind. Her good friends that live here, they also have friends in Indiana. And so they have been talking and have talked for, months previous about um, moving up to Indiana so they can be nearer to these friends of theirs, which is, I don't have an issue with that. Other than she's currently not employed. She's not good at saving up money. And, until she has a job and knows what kind of money she's making, how does she know what she can put away? And also, if she's not going to be in Maine with us, you know, I'm like, that's going to be a whole different situation because if anything goes wrong, we're 2,000 miles away currently. If she moves to Indiana, she'd be slightly closer, but not that much. It's still a plane flight away. And, for me as her mom, that's just like, oh, I thought she was going to be 3, 4 hours away. Now she's going to be a couple of days away from us. And so it's just like, and again, I want her to do what makes her happy, but I get frustrated because I feel like she's making, she doesn't understand what decision she's making, I guess. I don't want to say she's making a mistake because I don't know if she's making a mistake. I feel like it's a mistake because I feel like she doesn't understand the consequences of the decisions that she's making. She's out on her own, she's in her own apartment, but we still pay a lot of her bills. She still, um, uh, she doesn't really own her car. We do. We've never transferred the title to her. We pay the property tax on it. We pay for the insurance on it. She's on our health insurance. Um, you know, it just, she's not really on her own yet, I don't feel like. And that said, after talking to my sister about it when she and I moved out of my parents' house when we were younger, and, what did we know? And, I just feel like as her mom, I should be teaching her, okay, she needs to know how to do this, that, and the other. And, she needs to figure out, she needs to know how you pay your car registration, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm like, you know, did I know any of that stuff when I moved out? No, not really. I just learned it as I went to. It's not like there's not plenty of people who could help her besides me. Um, I guess it's just me wanting to, make sure that I feel like she's ready to leave the nest. And I don't feel that way yet. But I said to her, okay, well, if that's, your decision, then fine, whatever, but you're going to need to start cutting some apron strings. And she goes, what does that mean, Mom? And I'm like, okay, I'm old, you guys. So, yeah. So she's not going with us. And that could change tomorrow again. Who knows? But so, so now I'm to the point where I'm like, okay, we just need to do what we're going to do and we'll figure it out. Right. Um, eh, like I was talking to my sister and, my husband and I have sat around and played the what if game so many times over the last several months. Right now it's a seller's market. What if we wait and the bottom falls out of the market and we don't get what we need out of our house? And what if this happens? And what if that happens? And I'm like, the reality is we want to move up there to be closer to his folks. There really isn't anything that's going to change that reason. Um, he's been this far away from his family for 10 years and he's already lost a sister unexpectedly. His dad is not in the greatest health. Both of his parents are getting up there in years. And, you know, had I known at the time that the time I was spending with my parents was going to be some of the last time I would get with them, I wouldn't have wasted any of it. So, I finally just said, okay, we just need to figure it out. I mean, I can say, well, I want to stay here until the end of the year for this reason, that reason, whatever. But the reality is, it doesn't really matter whether we've gotten our okay from Canada to move up there or not. If we need to move, then we need to move. If we want to move, then we'll move. It's not like it really affects anything, other than we just need to notify people. So, sorry, my phone's going off. I don't know why. Instagram must have changed some kind of setting. Like I've gone in and turned it off so that I don't get like a little buzz like that every time something happens on my Instagram, but I've missed a setting somewhere because I still get some of them going off. It's like, I don't need a big buzz notification like that just because someone liked a post or something. Anyway, so I was talking to my sister and she's like, you guys just need to do what you're going to do. Go up there, look around. If you see something you like, buy it. And I was like, who are you and what have you done with my sister? But, I'm a firm believer in going with my gut. That has worked out for me for pretty much most of my life. Um, Not that I haven't made some bad decisions, but it's all worked out on the end. And for the most part, it's been pretty good. So, yeah. And you know, we're going to go look at houses. If we see one that we absolutely fall in love with and we can afford it, then we'll get it. We're also going to look at apartments and stuff while we're up there. We've contacted a realtor and said, we know we're going to be moving up there, but we don't really know if we want to rent, if we want to buy, what we want to do. Because, that again was us playing the what if game. What if we buy something up there and then we can't sell it and we can't find anybody to take care of it while we're in Canada? What do we do? And again, the reality is things are just going to go the way that they're going to go. And we just have to kind of roll with the punches. So we might as well just go into it with the mindset that that's what we're going to have to do and do what we want. So, um, yeah. And you guys, I never realized how much I say so until I go back and I edit some of these, especially the whip and chats. I often think to myself, ooh, I need to stop saying it so much, but it's like I say it and I don't even realize I'm saying it until I go back to edit it. I almost said it again right there. Anyway, I did get a notification from our city that now that I've gone out and spent a bunch of money on various recycling bins so that we can recycle in our house and get everything separated to make it simpler for us when we take it to the recycling place in the big town next to us, which is what I thought we were going to have to do. The city has notified all of the residents that, they've apparently had enough people ask that they're going to try and work out something with our trash service so that residents can have curbside recycling. It won't be through the city because our city bill is where our trash service is included in the city bill. So it would now be a separate bill if we want to do the recycling. But I was like, I would rather do that and pay a separate bill than have to have it all hanging around in my house in various containers and then have to load it all up and schlep it to a recycling center in the next town over. If I could just have someone pick it up at my house, that would be a lot simpler. So crossing my fingers that happens sooner rather than later. So, okay, guys, so you can see I finished here this section, and this color is the one that's missing. So if I take this off, you can see it's like these little leaves that go down and connect to this one. This color I have plenty of, and this color gets used as some branches elsewhere, but I don't think I'm going to have enough of it to fill in either. So, yeah. So, okay. So that was a huge life update, you guys. Gosh, had a lot of going on, didn't I? What's going on in DP land? What's going on in diamond painting land is I'm still working on stuff, obviously. The downside of working on big canvases is that I often don't have a lot to show you because nothing is finished yet. So this is probably the smallest canvas that I've worked on in a while, because because of my Big 10, that they tend to be bigger canvases. So I finished a lot of big canvases this year. I finished my Alice. I finished my Chuck Pinson. I finished my Dreamer Designs. I finished the Muka. I'm working on the huge Firefly Fireworks one. And so now I'm like, oh, I need to get some smaller ones so that I can get some finishes in. Now, I'll get plenty of finishes in for my 30 by 30 challenge in September, but so anyway, I'm still working on the Firefly one. I am practicing with a tin placer, so I'm still struggling with it a bit, but I think I'm getting better. I think. In my mind, I am anyway. I feel like I spend less time straightening stuff than I do placing it, so that's good. And so hopefully that one will be finished. I wanted to finish it by the end of this month, but I just don't think that's going to happen. So it's just such a big canvas, and finishing the Muka took more time than I had anticipated. And so, yeah, I really wanted to finish the Firefly one because I wanted to count all those hours in my July total, but I don't think that's going to happen either. So it looks like for the last couple of months, I've kind of sat around and not did a whole lot of diamond painting, but I just, again, because of the way I count my hours, it looks odd. But by the end of the year, we'll see how much progress I've made. So I'm working on this kit, which is also another one of my Big 10, but much smaller. This is only a 40 by 40. Crafties doesn't sell a lot of huge kits. So I thought this was a nice size, and it's one of my Big 10, so I wanted to work on this one. However, I'm now stuck with this one. Don't know if I'll get to include this one as a finish in July either, since I'm having to wait on the replacement drills because I don't know when those are going to show up, and until they do, I can't finish this one. So that stinks. But, maybe my 30 by 30 challenge will make up for a bunch of hours and things once I get to that point. Who knows? I am starting to get excited for that challenge though, looking at the pile of, I basically have taken a box and just shoved all of the kits that I think I will use in that challenge in the box. Although you guys, I was going through stuff after my stash update, my last state of the stash, and trying to gather everything together because I had all the 30 by 30s stored in one place, and I was like, okay, I'm getting so many, I've got to move them to a bigger box, basically. And when I did that, I'm like, looking around my office slash craft room going, okay, where have I stashed all of them? Is this all of the 30 by 30s? And I ended up finding 2 kits that I forgot to include in my state of the stash update because they were stored on a shelf not near where I store any of my other diamond paintings, and I forgot all about them. They're not 30 by 30s, but now I have 2 more than I realized because I forgot that I had those 2 stored over where I did, so that was annoying. But I think I am also going to start kitting up some of the 30 by 30s just so when September 1 hits that I can immediately jump into. My goal is to have between 3 and 5 kits already kitted up and ready to go so that I can just pull them out and start diamond painting as soon as I get up that very first morning. Because I'm going to try and do like a big sprint at the beginning and get as much, done as I can at first before I feel like I need to take a break and work on some partials. And so I want to have, like I said, between 3 to 5 of them kind of kitted up and ready to go so I can just, when I wake up on September 1st, I'm like, okay, go. So that I can, yeah, just start out on my best foot forward. And so you'll probably see some of those coming up on the channel here where I kit them up, but you won't actually see me working on them or doing anything until September because I just want to have them prepped and ready to go. And I've still got, basically the whole month of August, but I mean, we're not even into August yet, but we're getting close to the end of July, and August will get busy with school and everything. And um, so, yeah. So anyway, just have some other things to take care of that I so I want to get that all done so I'm ready to go for that challenge. So, because I that'll be interesting for me because I typically kit up, work, kit down, kit up, work, kit down, and so having possible multiple canvases not only on the go at the same time, but also possible canvases where it's like, okay, I finish one, put it aside, finish another one, put it aside, and I haven't dekitted anything. My thought is that I will possibly once or twice in September do like kind of a couple of marathon videos where I kit up a couple of kits at once, two or three, or I kit down a couple of kits at once, two or three, because I'm just going to have to, most of my time is going to be spent diamond painting. So I've got to minimize my prep time for things. So, okay, I think I've talked enough for now. So I'm going to zoom out of here and let you guys see what I have going on. So you can see down here, this whole section here, all these leaves is this same color that I'm missing here. So even if these were all the right color, which they're not, but even if they were, I wouldn't have enough to finish all of this. So if I get too impatient, if I get done with basically the rest of this by the time and I still don't have the other drills, I might go back in and like find a different yellow that works, um, just to get it done. But like I said, this one down here, I've already started this at the bottom of this, so I really need the color that matches to finish this one. But the ones that are up here and the ones on the other side of the top corner, I might be able to get away with getting something that's close, but not an exact match, but we'll see. So I'm just going to cross my fingers that everything gets here quickly and then I don't have to worry about it. So, okay, guys, so you can see it's turning out so cute. I love all these little faces. There's a bunny and the little deer, and there's another bunny, and there's some other animals you can't see. So, yeah, this one is just turning out really cute. So, happy with the way this one is going so far. I think I'm going to call that good here, guys. Thanks for hanging around with me and listening while I chat. I so appreciate everyone who subscribes. If you like the channel, please do me a huge favor. Share me all around on any and all of your socials. That helps me so much. What also helps if before you leave, you like the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.